Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, August 1st, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Life. Happy Monday. I'm back. Okay, so I've been gone a week. You guys had a break from me. I'm back, and you guys are going to hear from me. Got a lot going on. The biggest thing that I want to talk about is going to surprise you guys, but it's about voting. I know, shocker of shocks. I want to talk about voting, but I'm going to work my way around to it. So I was gone. I was on a family vacation and I spent time with two of my most favorite veterans on this earth. And that's my mother and my little sister, who both served their country with honor. My mother is a uh, Vietnam era veteran, and my sister is from the Iraq War era. My father is also from the Vietnam War era and actually served in Vietnam. And so veterans issues mean a lot to me because it means a lot to the people that I care about and who I love. And so, I'm back, and I was in a place where I didn't have access to the internet. So I didn't have Facebook, I didn't have Twitter, I didn't have Reddit. I was just out there on my own, just living my best life. But then I get back and I think, let me catch up. And I am not caught up, guys. I've not been back 24 hours. I have not caught up. There's a lot that I've missed. But what I didn't miss is Senator Snowball, Senator Inhofe, kind of dissed Mark Wayne. And beyond the dissing of Mark Wayne, I was actually more angered at the title of the article. It was in the Frontier, and they were basically making it a foregone conclusion that Mark Wayne Mullen is the heir apparent, that Mark Wayne Mullen is going to replace Senator Inhofe. And that spoke to my Democratic heart. They're writing us off, folks. They're not even acting as if we have a say in the matter. They're not acting as if we have a real candidate in the race. Or maybe they just don't believe we're going to show up to vote. I'm not real sure what's going on, but we have to prove them wrong. I don't want to talk about Inhofe. I don't want to talk about Mullins. And you guys know that I have a lot to say, and maybe I'll save that for later this week because both of them deserve our ire. But I want to focus on us. This past week while I was gone, I did get a glimpse of the fact that Oklahoma's representation in D.C. voted against protecting veterans who are victims of the burn pits or suffering from lung conditions. It passed, but not with the help of Oklahomans. Guys, a lot of positive things that happen when a Democrat is in charge. And I know it's hard for us to imagine. So I want to kind of give you a list. I wrote down a whole list. I'm just going to throw some of these things out. There's a lot of positive things that can happen when a Democrat's in charge. The Democratic Congress voted to cap insulin prices. No help from the Oklahomans, but we voted to cap insulin prices. People were paying up to $600 a month for insulin, which if you are a diabetic, if you are an insulin dependent diabetic, that means you're dependent on insulin to live. And so folks were rationing their insulin, doing without, having to deal with the emergency room versus because they couldn't afford it. And now we voted to cap insulin prices. It was a Democrat that brought us the Affordable Care Act, and it was direct democracy that got Medicare expanded in Oklahoma. It was the Democrats in Congress that voted for the Emergency Act for baby formula, so that we could shorten the time frame when we had the baby formula crisis, so we could seek other issues. It was the Democrats that voted for that. The Republicans voted it down. Democrats voted against price gouging with gasoline prices. Democrats got us shots in arms and checks in the bank. We're not all the way at complete student loan relief, but the student loan relief that we have seen has been under a Democratic president. Child care assistance, elder care assistance, expanding health care, record job growth, record job creation. Right now, I'm going to say crazy words, but Manchin is working on a deal that will confront climate change, that will make it possible for Medicare to negotiate with drug companies to reduce pricing. Um, these are things that happened when Democrats act together. And I know we don't feel it in Oklahoma because our representation votes against all of these positive things. Wouldn't it be great if we were part of the conversation? Wouldn't it be great if someone from Oklahoma was in DC and voting for capping insulin prices, voted for protecting our veterans? We don't have that right now. We don't have that right now, but we have 5 congressional seats that are open. So we have 5 Democratic candidates from congressional seats. So in CD1, we have Adam Martin. CD2, we have Naomi Andrews. CD3, we have Jeremiah Ross. CD4, we have Mary Brannon. CD5, we have Joshua Harris Till. For Senate, we have 2 seats. That is a rarity. It just doesn't happen that both seats come up at the same time. But right now, we have 2 seats. We have Kendra Horn running to replace James Inhofe. Regardless of what the papers are saying, and they think they're writing off the Democrats, we actually have a capable, competent Democrat running for that seat. And then for the seat to challenge James Lankford, who is running, but we have a runoff coming. I have my absentee ballot. If it's not too late for you to request yours. Everyone in Oklahoma, every Democrat in Oklahoma, no matter where you live, you have a ballot that you can vote on April 23rd. You have a ballot. It may not be absentee if you haven't requested it up already, but you have a ballot. A lot of times when I'm out in the world talking to Democrats, people complain to me that they don't have someone to vote for all the time, that they go to vote, their Republican neighbors have somebody to vote for, but as a Democrat, we don't. Every Democrat has something to vote for on August 23rd. Now, I have multiple things, depending on where you live, you have multiple things, but you will at least have the runoff for state Senate. And that's who we're going to put up against to challenge James Lankford. We have two people on the ballot. We have Madison Horn and Jason Bollinger, who are running for that seat. That's who's going to be on your ballot. It makes a difference. I can't say it enough. It makes a difference. This attitude of just giving up and letting it happen, we can't give into that. We can't give into we've been gerrymandered out the wazoo and we just need to let it happen. No, we have a chance. They're not counting on us voting. And they're counting their wins based on their numbers. They're not even counting us. We can upset that apple cart. We should upset that apple cart. They're voting against veterans. I take it very, very personally because I have so many veterans in my life. Can't count all the cousins, but both my parents, my sister, it means a lot to me. We can't let it happen, guys. They're not counting us. They don't think we're going to show up. They don't think we're going to show up in numbers. And if June 28th can believe, maybe we won't. I'm not willing to give up. I'm not willing to say, well, I don't want to vote for the lesser of 2 evils. Because for me, it's not about the lesser of 2 evils. In the governor's race, we have one person there are 4 people running, but it's down to 2 people, if we're just being honest. And we will have one person who's shown us how he's going to govern. He's shown us how he's going to govern by fighting with the tribes, getting involved in culture wars and the scandals and the cronyism. He's shown us that. If he gets to stay in that office, he will dig his heels in and it will be worse. It's not the lesser of 2 evils. There is a competent person and there is an evil person. That's what it is. It's not the lesser of 2 evils. That's what we have. And so this desire to just let it be, I am pleading with you. Take the time to get to know the people who are on the ballot. They are all over the state. When they come to your region, because we have a pretty big state, it doesn't seem like it, but there are 77 counties and there are all these events. When they come within driving distance of you, I implore that you get in your car and you go over to where they are and you listen to them and you ask them the questions. So I started out talking about Inhofe and that race and them writing off the Democrat. The Democrat that we have in that race is Kendra Horn. We know that she's confident. We know that she's thoughtful, and we know that she will come back and answer to her votes. Even the votes that she knows aren't popular, she will still come and face us. And I think that is important. And if you want to hear what she's talking about, if you want to see her in person and get a feel for who she is, because I believe that you should know who's representing you. It's representative government. Kendra Horn will be in Oklahoma City at the Belle Isle Library tomorrow at 6:30. Go, listen to her. If you get a chance, ask her a question, because I think it's important that you know who you're voting for. With regards to the other candidates, if they've joined me on my live, or if they've been on the Hamilton Report, we've linked those on our website so you can hear how they talk off the cuff. So you can hear how they talk off book. You don't have to just read what they say. You can get a feel for them, but they are all over the place. Find out when your next county meeting is. I bet a candidate who's going to be at your ballot will be there from now until November 8th. They're at the meetings. So find out when your county or the county that's close to you, when they're having a meeting, find out when that meeting is and get there, because there'll be a candidate who's going to be on your ballot, and that's your opportunity to talk to them. That's your opportunity to tell them what's important to you, because that's what they're supposed to take to DC with them. Because if we send them there empty, we send them there with not out anything real, they get there, they drink the Kool-Aid, and they vote for what the other folks want. That's what the current folks do. They don't vote for what we want. They go along with the crowd, and Oklahoma gets left out. So I know that every time I log on to Facebook, I see that Joshua Harris Hill is speaking somewhere, that Naomi Andrews is at some event speaking, that Mary Brannon is always on Facebook, but she's at the things that are happening in CD4 in Norman. Go, be where she is. When I was at Edmond, there were a lot of candidates there, and people had an opportunity to stop and talk to the candidates. These aren't just mystical names on the ballot. These aren't just mystical people. On the other side, I will tell you that my current congressman, who's a Republican because I live in Oklahoma, the only time that I get to know what he's talking about in his town halls or when I get called. I just get called and say, you are selected to participate in a town hall. And I join the town hall. That's already happening. I didn't get an email telling me that it was happening. I didn't get a Facebook message. I didn't get a postcard. I just get randomly chosen to join a call that I have no idea if he's even in town having, that's predetermined and don't have any real questions. That doesn't feel like representation to me. But if I can go to the library and hear him speak, I'm going to show up at the library, but I got to know about it. And I'll tell you that the Democrats are announcing where they are, and they're giving you an opportunity to go and tell them what's important. So you know me, I'm going to talk about voting. Please take that down, Scott. I'm not finished. Please take that down. You know me, I'm going to talk about voting, and I'm going to ask you, don't just consider yourself voting. Don't just worry about voting for yourself. Vote, make a plan to vote, and make a plan to take some folks with you. You know, I've asked my mother to be responsible for at least 10 people voting. Find 10 people who you weren't sure if they're going to vote and help them make a plan. I think she has 7. And she's been homebound for a good portion of the last couple of months. So I'm telling you, you can do the same thing. It may be too hot, maybe not today, but it may be too hot for you to knock doors. It's not too hot for you to make phone calls. Call the people in your phone. Call you know. Make sure that they have a plan to vote. We have 22 days until the runoff. Municipal elections, city councils, school boards on August 23rd, depending on where you live. And we have 99 days until the midterms. The national political shows are writing Oklahoma off. They're not even talking about us. We might as well not be part of the United States. But what that means to us in Oklahoma is that we can make a difference. They're not putting us into their calculation. They're not. All we have to do is show up in numbers. All we have to do is show up in numbers, and that will change that narrative. It's not that hard, guys. Vote. Make your plan to vote and help 10 people make their plan to vote. That's all we have to do, because they're counting on us not showing up. They're just counting their votes. They're not counting our votes. We got to show up. Please, please make a plan and show up. So, along the vein of getting to know your candidates, tonight on the Hamilton Report, which is every Monday at 6:30, Scott Hamilton has a candidate join him, so you get a feel for who that candidate is, and you can see how they talk off the cuff. You can see what's important to them. You can see Scott ask questions that he's heard other people ask. And tonight is Warigia Bowman, who is a statewide candidate running for Corporation Commission. A lot of folks don't even know what Corporation Commission does. Join Scott and Warigia tonight at 6:30. You can hear what that office is about, and you can learn about Warigia because she's going to be on your ballot in November. And it's important that you just don't vote for eeny, meeny, miny, mo, that you know who you're voting for. You know what she stands for. Tonight at 6:30. All righty. I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15 talking about voting, but I'll try to put a different spin on it. Talking about voting. I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15. You guys have a great evening.